staff in Washington, D.C. Started putting things together to make this not only something to do with trade and investment on real estate, but also tourism. And that is why on the second day, we are going to focus on tourism in the Bahamas.
Now, of course, we have to deal with the elephant in the room, and that's the U.S. trade war, and that creates a lot of uncertainty around the world, not just in the United States and the neighboring, the Bahamas. So how are we as in the Bahamas, what is our strategy to allay the fears of these investors who are looking now to probably reassess their portfolio because of what is taking place globally? How are we allaying their fears? What measures are we taking?
The good news is that the Bahamas is very well situated geographically, proximity to the United States, and we have one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And so it's not a hard sell to get investors in the Bahamas looking at tourism development and real estate in particular. But we also want to improve financial services. There are many products that are available in the financial services sector that they need to know about. And so we have sent invitations to the heavy hitters on Wall Street and the financial houses here in New York, and they are here. We are happy to see that the registration far exceeded our expectation. We planned for about 200 people, and over the weekend we had over 300 registered people in New York. And so we are going to have probably a seating capacity today. Because the Bahamas is hot, I don't think that we are concerned about the tariff situation at the moment, because that is in a state of flux, really. The administration here in the U.S. is up and down with respect to tariffs. So we are just we just want to show our guests here today that the Bahamas is a well-governed country. We have all of the laws and the regulations in place for them to have profitable businesses in the Bahamas.
Now, we know that we just got a good standing. We're in good standing with the IMF. We've been removed from the EU's blacklist. So like you said, we're in good financial standing. The economic growth is booming. But what do you say to that investor who says, you know, it's good to do business in paradise. The United States is close to the Bahamas, but so is the Turks and Caicos Islands. So is probably, I don't want to say Jamaica, but let's go to those islands that are closer to the Bahamas. What gives the Bahamas the edge, you think, despite the fact that, hey, we have a very strong financial services sector. We have a very strong economy that the Prime Minister just touted yesterday is getting stronger every minute, so to speak.
As I mentioned, we have a clean jurisdiction now with respect to financial services. All of the laws have been amended and improved so that people in the financial services sector can be comfortable about doing business in the Bahamas. They're not concerned about blacklisting and all that sort of stuff because we have been given a clean bill of health by all of these financial institutions in the world. And so we are in good stead in financial services. You would probably not know, but the Prime Minister is going to be very busy today because there are a number of investors who contacted us who want personal conversations with the Prime Minister. So we have a room set aside. After his keynote address today, he is going to be meeting with a number of international businessmen who are going to be talking about prospective business investments in the Bahamas. The Bahamas is hot, and the bad news is, I give you the good news, but the bad news is that far too many Bahamians do not appreciate the quality of life that we have and what the government is doing. The government is doing some heavy lifting, giving yeoman service to our country, and we have a good name. and that is not appreciated. Our expectations in the Bahamas perhaps too low, and we need to better educate the Bahamian people on what this particular government is doing and how investors are viewing the Bahamas in a positive way.
You touched on something that brings up another 2 points. What investment niche is there that you would like to see the Bahamas headed in that we haven't quite cracked the code into yet? Which field that you would like to see the Bahamas tap into that we haven't probably explored?
Well, the investments in the Bahamas have been concentrated in the northwest Bahamas. Exuma moving north to the north. The Bahamas runs northwest to southeast. We would like to see more investments in the southeastern islands of the Bahamas. San Salvador, Cat Island, Long Island, Auckland's Crooked Island, and Merguan and Nagua, places such. And so we are using this particular forum to entice people to develop little resorts, to buy real estate in those southeastern islands. Exuma has been hot for a long time.
Yes.
Most of the islands have been purchased, right? But there are so many beautiful islands in the southeastern islands that we have to concentrate on. So for far too long, the concentration has been on the northwest, so we have to now concentrate on the southeast.
What do you say to the Bahamians back home who say, you know, we're doing a lot of investments and maybe we should put a little investments? I see that on the itinerary is Martha Rowe from the Small Business Development Group, and I think the Prime Minister, he has said, some of our government leaders have said it before, if a group of Bahamians get together and could invest in the Bahamas, it would be better for the Bahamas. You don't forget, not necessarily together for foreign direct investment, but let's not concentrate as heavily as we are on it.
Well, you know, we are developing the orange economy and the blue economy. And there are a lot of local investors, Bahamians, who are invested now in the orange economy. They are artisans, people such. Go to Grand Bahama and you would see the number of people who are opening businesses where Carnival is opening a cruise port. And more of that is going to come. We have people who are involved in various crafts who have made applications to start new ventures. And so when the foreign investor comes, you know, no country can do without foreign direct investment.
Exactly.
And so the foreign direct investment is going to propel local investments. As you would know in New Providence, for instance, cab drivers are not complaining, you know.
Right.
Things are going well for them. Small business owners at the port, they are not complaining because things are going good for them. And so if we can get a higher level of foreign direct investment, it would lift local investments as well.
Any plans, and I don't know if you can speak on this, but I'll ask anyway. I know we're focusing heavily on the United States because it's right there, but any plans to probably draw in investors from other countries?
Well, you know, I go to Capitol Hill all the time speaking with senators and congressmen, and they are very concerned about the China influence, all right?
Exactly.
And they shouldn't be concerned about the China influence because Americans have taken advantage of investment opportunities in the Bahamas for a very, very long time. And so in this room today, you're going to see Pakistanis, you're going to see people from Asia who are interested in investment opportunities in the Bahamas. I just had a conversation with a gentleman who wants to come to visit me in Washington, who is from Pakistan. He brought his whole family here, and they want to do some business in the Bahamas. So things are looking great for our country, and we are upwardly mobile. The trajectory can't be better. As you know, yesterday the Prime Minister announced a budget surplus.
For the first time since independence.
Things are just swimmingly well.
Going
in the
well
Bahamas.
for the Bahamas. Well, at this juncture, we'll take a break once again. We're coming to you live from the Metropolitan Club in New York City for the opening ceremony of the Bahamas Business Investment Forum. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
The internet isn't just for surfing. There's a sea of shoppers buying online, and you can connect with them on Tingsy. Tingsy is the SBDC's online storefront built for Bahamians. Take your business to the next level by selling to customers online, both at home and around the world. People want Bahamian things, and if you got things to sell, sell on Tingsy. Find out how you can connect with a sea of buyers by visiting tingsybahamas.com.
We're here at the Nassau Village Community Center project, where over the past 17 months, we've hired over 20 Bahamian subcontractors to bring this beautiful project to fruition.
I've been living in Nassau Village for more than 19 years, and to see a project like this bring great joy and pride to me.
This state-of-the-art multi-purpose community center will serve as a crime-fighting initiative in the community. Also help with the education of our kids in this community and a hurricane shelter.
Yeah, and it also shows what we as Bahamians can achieve when we work hand in hand with each other.
We have the technical know-how, and we can pretty much deliver on any project here in the Bahamas or in the world.
Bahamas Stripe and the Bahamian Company, they prove that they believe in Bahamians.
Based on the outcome of this project, I don't think they're disappointed in giving a small person an opportunity to do a job such as this.
The more opportunity they get, the more opportunity we will get.
If you look around and see the work done so far, it just shows what we as Bahamians can do.
This summer, make your statement in color. Romilda Rose Designs proudly presents the Bahamian Print Collection, a vibrant tribute to island elegance and effortless style. Available now for pre-order and officially launching June 8th. Be bold, be beautiful. Let your style speak Bahamian boldness. Place your orders today at romildarosedesigns.net. Romilda Rose Designs, where fashion meets heritage.
In 2023, over 9 million visitors came to the Bahamas, the region's leading tourism destination. That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Paradise is not only found in Nassau, but throughout our 16 island destinations.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Over 400,000 Bahamians depend on our tourism-driven economy.
That is why tourism is everyone's business.
It's the passing on of our traditions and our cultural heritage to the next generation.
That's why tourism is everyone's business.
Tourism is everyone's business.
From the straw we plant, to exploring our Bahama blues, to experiencing the greatest show on earth. No matter who you are, we all have a part to play in our tourism industry.
This is our country.
These are our islands.
This is our home.
That's why tourism
is everyone's business.
Have you ever dreamed of gifting a loved one their own piece of paradise? Now, with Debco's groundbreaking gift initiative, you can turn that very dream into reality. GIFT, which stands for Generational Investment, Friends and Family Trust, is a simple yet powerful way to make property ownership more accessible. Contribute to the 10% down payment in person or team up with friends and family to make it even easier. You can even pay online via direct bank transfer, then submit the required form with just a few taps. The person you gift then enters a manageable 7-year payment plan, or they can pay in full anytime. Imagine the joy of giving the gift of ownership, a piece of the Bahamas, a piece of paradise, right at your fingertips. Now, you can gift for a birthday, a wedding, graduation, Christmas, or simply just because. With Debco's Gift Initiative, you're not just giving a gift, you're gifting a bright future. Debco, where opportunities embrace and gift ownership. Visit gbdebco.com to learn more.
been an electrician for 18 years. And one day I just lost my sight and found that I was in a totally new world. I just found this strength that came from nowhere. And here I am today. Even though I am faced with disabilities, the fire in me, it never went out as related to me being an entrepreneur. But the barrier is just people being understanding and willing to take a chance on somebody like myself. My dream is to see where the government can really pass laws, legislation to assist people like myself. And whether you believe it or not, we do have something to offer this country. We have to make people understand that we are here. And not in many cases we're looking for handout. We want to make a contribution. You gotta live. And part of living is that you gotta take charge of your life. And through programs like this with the SBDC, I know for a fact that my business can now come to life.
For more information about how the SBDC can help your small business to make a big impact, give us a call at 461-7232 or visit sbdcbahamas.com.
Welcome back. We're coming to you live from the Metropolitan Club in New York City for the Bahamas Business and Investment Forum, a two-day event bringing together a good mix of foreign and local investors. And joining me, speaking of local investors, joining me is the local investor himself, Burton Rogers. Mr. Rogers, welcome to our pre-show. Tell me, let's talk about the importance of you being here as a local investor. I understand that even though we're bringing together a mesh of local and foreign investors, it seems to be that the foreigners are outnumbering the Bahamians, which is a very good thing in terms of it's a very good thing in terms of piqued interest. Yeah. So why do you feel the need to be here? What are you hoping to pull from what you get from here today?
Well, actually, what I'm seeing, as I just got here about 5 minutes ago, but what I'm seeing is the turnout of the foreign investors, which is actually what you want. They show that there's a lot of interest in investing in the Bahamas. The opportunity is there, presenting itself. So basically, I'm just here to actually mix and mingle with some of my colleagues, some of my friends from the Bahamas who are here, who made sure I attended this event, and to meet some of the foreign investors.
Let me ask you now, is that intimidating for you that you're outnumbered, despite the fact that in the long run, hey, it's a thumbs up for the Bahamas, but is it intimidating for you in terms of the piqued interest in the Bahamas from foreign investments? We have...
No, not at all. Not at all. Like I said, the more the merrier. The Bahamas is still a growing country. It shows that, again, there's a lot of interest there. And to see such a great turnout of that foreign crowd actually makes me excited. Yeah.
What's the climate like for local investment in the Bahamas right now, would you say?
It's good. I think there can be grave improvement on basically timing. How long it takes to get things done. I think that could be improved.
The ease of doing business.
Basically the ease of doing business. I think there's been some measures to get that done.
Yes.
There seems to be a lot of effort to do that. And basically, I think people are doing, they're giving their full effort to make it compatible.
I'm sorry, if you had to throw out some advice then to someone who's at home thinking about investing, what would you tell them? Because you acknowledge that there have been some challenges, although you saw a light at the end of the tunnel, you kept pushing, you got what you wanted out of it, but you acknowledge that there were challenges, there were bumps in the road. First of all, let's talk more about those challenges and in terms of getting on the road to success. And what advice would you give to local investors in hopes of avoiding those challenges?
Those challenges are just normal business stuff. I mean, listen, there's risk in any business that you take.
Exactly.
There's good and bad. I think finding the right team and having a relationship, obviously, with the government sector, with private sector, because you can't do anything by yourself. You need a good team. And just focus. But like I said, it's when you're in business, it's a 24-hour procedure. It's never 9 to 5. And I think once you've made up your mind, Bahamians are very resilient. and I think their resiliency will always breed success. So my thing is, if there's something that you're interested in doing, just go for it. There's risks, but where there's risk, there's great reward.
I think a lot of Bahamians don't know that this is the man behind quite a few businesses at home. Do you see your investment portfolio expanding even further?
That depends on what happens here. But I would encourage, based on what I just saw for the last 10 minutes, and like I said, I just walked in the door.
Just networking.
I would advise next year that everybody comes. I think they should do this more often, but do it in different cities. You're here in New York, which is a great place to start, because obviously there's Wall Street, but you can do it in California, some of the big cities, Chicago.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, definitely, because there's super intelligent people in the Bahamas. I mean, incredibly smart. They're much smarter than I am. And I think our natural resources, we need to take that to the world.
Now, you're the face behind a lot of our eateries. Do you see yourself in terms of exploring other investment opportunities, branching off into another type of business? And if so, if you don't mind divulging.
No,
or you want to keep that a close secret? I know.
But yeah, there's interest in looking at a couple other businesses, not necessarily eateries, but there's always interested in doing business. The Bahamas, although we have a population of around 400,000, we entertain about 7-8 million people a year. That's a lot of people. Even
more than that.
Yeah. So I think whenever you make that investment going forward, make that investment based on that number. Service industry is always great. We provide a great product. So yeah.
Let me ask you, do you have an affinity to possibly partner with the U.S.? Because I understand that there are people from Pakistan here, there are people from other parts of the world. So I'm thinking if the opportunity is right.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think in business it always has to be partnership. I think that local partnership is key. I mean, having local partners and then expanding that partnership internationally. But I don't think you should be in any business by yourself. I believe in partnership. I don't think any business should be by yourself.
Well, once again, we are talking to Burton Rogers, and he's one of our local investors. And again, we're coming to you live from the Metropolitan Club in New York City. That's the venue of the second annual Bahamas Business and Investment Forum. And this forum will begin shortly with an opening address from the Prime Minister. Welcome back. Joining me right now is Samantha Roll, the Samantha Roll, and she is the head of the SBDC. That's a Small Business Development Center back home in the Bahamas. But we are coming to you live from the Metropolitan Club in New York City. So it's such an honor to have you joining us on the broadcast.
Good morning.
This morning. Such a powerhouse, a woman in what some would still say a man's world in the business and investment stratosphere, so to speak. But what do you see your role here as? Like we say, you're the small business development, and when we think of business and investment, some of us are led to believe things on a much higher platform.
Yeah, no, I think what's important is to remember that our economy, the Bahamian economy, is the backbone when it comes to small businesses, right? They're the ones that really fuel our growth. And so the role of the SBDC is to empower, is to facilitate access to whether it's financing, opportunities, networking, mentorship. And it's not just to think about the narrow scope of our local economy, but then also abroad, and how do we make those linkages? And I think, being here is a testament. We spoke about trade diversification and how it's necessary for our economy to thrive, to mitigate some of those external shocks.
Exactly.
And so here we are making the connections so that we can further support our small businesses at home.
Now, you speak of making connections. Can you speak to if any of your SBDC people have actually partnered with the U.S. to take their small businesses to an even higher level?
So the SBDC does its work greatly through collaboration. And so we have a number of strategic partners, such as the U.S. Embassy, such as the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce. And through those relationships, we've participated in trade missions. And we have a number of businesses who've made those connections with U.S. firms or businesses, as well as with businesses and vendors and suppliers outside of the U.S. And so we did a mission in India, and a mission in the Dominican Republic, and a mission in Canada. And so these are the types of opportunities that exist for small businesses to succeed.
I know, Samantha Roll, whenever we see you, you're giving out another set of grants to another set of people. And, more often than not, a lot of us looking at you said, I want to be that person. You've given to the disabled. SBDC have also reached out to women, reached out to just men. Where do you see the center going next?
So what we would like to do is we would like to then reach another level. And so we believe in equality, we believe in equity, to make sure that all have access to the offerings that we have. In addition to that is, okay, we provide funding. What else can we do to strengthen the ecosystem? And that has a lot to do with perhaps the brick and mortar concept isn't the right model for a business. And so we've launched, or we're about to launch, the e-commerce platform, our marketplace platform, Tingsy, that allows for businesses to sell their products and services across our archipelago, but then also sell it abroad, right? We are about to engage in where we launch what we call our public procurement program. And again, that's an opportunity to allow the connection between government contracts and small businesses, because we believe that it should be embedded in these investment agreements that small businesses get a percentage of those types of investments. And so we want to make sure that we cause this to happen, that it's intentional. The other thing I would share very quickly is we continue to focus on Family Island development. We continue to focus intentionally on those small businesses across the Family Island, because that's certainly untapped opportunities there.
Let me just ask you this. If you were to pitch to these investors today, what would you tell them? Why it's better to do business in the Bahamas? Apart from the fact that the climate is right, we're the place to be. What would you say to them?
I would say that the Bahamas continues to set the pace in the Caribbean region. I would also say that the Bahamas have the asset that is needed to make it successful in any venture, and that asset is our creative people. And I think that we too need to make sure that we are investing in ourselves.
Exactly.
And I think that's most important. And so another program is Crafting the Bahamas, making sure that we once again talk about, highlight, promote, produce authentically Bahamian products. And I think that's what investors are looking for. They're looking for an authentic experience, and we in the Bahamas can provide that.
Do you see is there any business there's still a concept that you hope to see materialize, whether it comes to fruition because we have partnered with a foreigner, or because locals themselves have come together, and not just me coming to you for a grant or some sort of funding to make it happen?
I think that, always very optimistic about having international investment, but I know that there's great power in local investment as well.
That's wonderful.
And so if we can, through those co-op groupings and opportunities, because we've had them in the day, right?
Yeah.
In the past, the Sunshine Boys and all of those, we can have that again, because even today they are still being called and named and successful. Talk about generational wealth. And so there are a number of businesses that we have yet to look into, whether it's nature-based businesses,
Exactly right.
again, looking at our natural resources.
And the Family Islands bringing that into play as well.
Absolutely. Whether it's making sure that some of our existing industries we highlight even more, such as the fly fishing. I mean, that is phenomenal. That caters to the top 1% in the world, and we have the best flats in the world. And so these are, when you talk about those opportunities and the value chain, so there's things that can be done that we can't even think of now, but I know that there's someone out there coming up with these ideas, and it's just a matter of making sure that the timing.
What do you say to that person who is not a little, but a whole lot apprehensive to make this dream a reality, don't know where to start, who to turn to, who to partner with, and actually how to make it happen? It's just anxiety and fear holding them back, but have all the big dreams needed to make a product, bring a product to reality.
I would say step outside of your fear. And it may sound easy saying it than doing it, but you have to do it. Because you have to at least get started. You have to just do.
Just jump.
Yeah, you have to jump. And I'm not saying that entrepreneurship is a glorious, roses. But there will be pitfalls, there will be challenges, but you just have to do it.
And how would you tell people to equip themselves for the challenges that will come?
It has a lot to do with information, preparing yourself through doing your research, as much research as you can do, as well as utilizing the existing stakeholders that are there to support you. And so through various support organizations, you can get access to the information, you can get access to the support.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the entrance of the Honorable Philip Davis.
Well, again, we're coming to you live from the Metropolitan Club, where we are just wrapping up our talk with Samantha Roll, the face, the energy, the expertise behind the SPDC. And I'll tell you again, it is certainly an honor to have you join us on our broadcast and to meet you. We have the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister will bring the opening address to the forum, this morning's opening forum. The Prime Minister of the Bahamas, who just entered the room, the Honorable Philip Davis. Also on the itinerary is remarks from His Excellency Wendell K. Jones, Ambassador of the Bahamas to the United States. So we throw it now to the podium. Thanks for joining.
Please be seated. The Honorable Philip Davis, KC, MP, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. The Honorable Frederick Mitchell, Minister of Foreign Affairs. The Honorable Michael Halkitis, Minister of Economic Affairs. The Honorable Mario Boleg, Minister of Youth, Sports, and Culture. The Honorable Pierre Glover Roll, Minister of Labor and the Public Service. The Honorable John Pinder, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation. His Excellency Wendell Jones, Ambassador of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to the United States of America. His Excellency Chet Nemore, Ambassador and Permanent Representative of the Bahamas to the Organization of American States. His Excellency Sebastian Bastian, Ambassador of the Bahamas to Central America. His Excellency Taran Maki, Ambassador of the Bahamas to Kuwait and Bahrain. His Excellency Jamal Roll, Ambassador of the Bahamas to UNESCO. Other distinguished ambassadors: Mr. Jerome Fitzgerald, Senior Policy Advisor in the Office of the Prime Minister and former parliamentarian and cabinet minister. Mr. Kevin Simmons, Senior Advisor in the Office of the Prime Minister. Mr. Orville Tommy Turnquest, Executive Deputy Chairman and CEO of the Jacks Bay Resort Development and former parliamentarian and cabinet minister. Consuls General Leroy Major and Joy Newbold. Mrs. Latia Duncombe, Director General in the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation. Mrs. Felicia Woods Hanna, Director of the Bahamas Investment Authority. Honorary Consul Lyndon Rose, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, representatives of the United States government, Mr. Picewell Forbes, Executive Chairman of the Bahamas Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas, that is, and former parliamentarian and High Commissioner of CARICOM, and members of the ZNS team here present. Mr. Peter Galandris, Deputy Chairman of the Bahamas Maritime Authority here in New York City. Ms. Yolanda Cash Jackson, shareholder of Becker and Polyakov. Ms. Christina Roll, Executive Director of the Securities Commission of the Bahamas. Mr. Giovanni Moss, Director of ICF International, and Mr. Remy Martin, esteemed moderators and panelists, special invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to each and every one of you. It is indeed an honor for me to serve as the moderator for this two-day Business and Investment Forum. My name is Chrissy Hanna, and I am the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of the Bahamas in Washington, D.C. This year's forum is proudly hosted by the Embassy of the Bahamas in collaboration with the Bahamas Consulate General here in New York City and our partners in the Ministry of Tourism, Investments, and Aviation. Last year, the Bahamas, in partnership with the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, held the inaugural Bahamas Business and Investment Forum in Washington, D.C. This year, we have decided to grace the stage of the Big Apple, where we will continue to promote to pursue and to advance the many business and investment opportunities that exist throughout the length and breadth of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Under the theme, Embracing Opportunities in Paradise, this year we'll convene 5 dynamic panel discussions, each of them aimed to facilitate meaningful dialogue and collaboration on areas of priority focus for the Bahamas government, including the financial services sector, the real estate industry, the Bahamas' ocean ecosystems, and the Bahamian cultural economy. We have several Bahamian industry experts and professionals in the room, and they will delve into the various thematic areas throughout the course of this year's 2-day forum. We look forward to their meaningful, insightful, and invaluable contributions. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a full and a substantive agenda. And so with these introductory remarks, I extend to each and every one of you a productive, a successful, and a most memorable Bahamas Business and Investment Forum 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, it is my pleasure to invite to the podium His Excellency Wendell Jones, Ambassador of the Bahamas to the United States of America, who will come now to bring the opening remarks and introduce the Honorable Prime Minister. Ambassador Jones.
Thank you very much, Ms. Hannah. Honorable Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, Senators, Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the Bahamas Business and Investment Forum here in New York City. Many decades ago, long before Miami and Fort Lauderdale were developed and became attractive, Bahamian men and women traveled to New York in search of a higher earning power, and in later years, some settled here after the contract days. In doing so, they contributed to the culture and diversity of this great metropolis. Today, we've come to the Big Apple, the financial capital of the world, for a different reason: to tell the story of what the Bahamas has become as an international financial center and one of the best little countries for tourism in the world. Over the last several years, under the careful stewardship of Prime Minister Philip Davis, the Bahamas has undertaken a comprehensive modernization of its legal framework and financial services legislation. We have restored and even surpassed the reputation enjoyed in the 1970s and 1980s as the Switzerland of the Caribbean. This renaissance is built on 3 pillars: transparent governance, regulatory excellence, and an unwavering commitment to environmental protection, because true prosperity requires a healthy, sustainable environment. Today's numbers speak for themselves. For the first time in nearly 20 years, our sovereign credit rating carries a positive outlook, reflecting growing international confidence in our financial, fiscal management, and economic direction. The Bahamas National Statistical Institute recently reported that economic growth in 2024 exceeded expectations, driven by record levels of foreign direct investments in our financial services sector and in the exclusive real estate enclaves that dot our archipelago. From New Providence to Exuma and beyond, discerning investors have found not only the beauty of our islands, but also that stability of our institutions and the promise of exceptional returns. Prime Minister Davis, a leader who is fastidious in his attention to fiscal matters, has positioned our nation for sustained growth by maintaining strict financial discipline, reinforcing our banking laws, and championing innovative public-private partnerships. The positive indices highlighted by the rating agencies and the enthusiasm of global fund managers all point to one clear message. The Bahamas is good for business, and the opportunities abound for those who seek progress and wholesome investments. Our commitment to environmental protection and sustainability further enhances our investment climate. We understand that true prosperity requires a healthy ecosystem. And that is why we have implemented forward-thinking policies on coastal resilience, renewable energy, and maritime conservation. These steps create the right climate for both nature and for investment. The Embassy of the Bahamas in Washington, D.C. initiated these fora last year and is happy to collaborate with our consulate here in New York and with the Ministry of Tourism officials for this two-day forum. We recognize that economic and financial affairs are not just pillars of growth, but pillars of our democracy and foreign policy. Commercial intercourse with businesses abroad brings progress to our people. So friends, neighbors, and investors here in New York, we have a compelling story of resilience, renewal, and opportunity. From 1492 to now, the Bahamas has been the gateway to the Americas, a stable common law jurisdiction, and a nation in progress where innovation meets paradise. And we invite you in this forum to be a part of it. It is now, ladies and gentlemen, my great pleasure to introduce the architect of this Renaissance, whose vision and dedication have not only propelled our nation toward sustainable prosperity, but his leadership has positively impacted statecraft and public policy in the region, specifically CARICOM countries. Our keynote speaker is one of the most successful lawyers in the Bahamas, with local and international acclaim. He is an internationally recognized champion and advocate for climate justice awareness of the threat of climate change. He has been a member of Parliament for some 28 years and is the main driver of positive change in the Bahamas. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to ask Prime Minister and the Minister of Finance of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, the Honorable Philip Davis, to address us.
Good morning. Please be seated. I want to thank Ms. Hannah for establishing the protocol and I adopt the same. Ladies and gentlemen, it is indeed a pleasure to join you this morning to discuss the various opportunities, challenges, and the way forward, and to demonstrate to you that the Bahamas is the place for you to be. You know, in a period of global uncertainty, when markets are volatile, geopolitical tensions run high, and the rules of engagement seem to shift day by day, I come to you with a simple but confident message. The Bahamas offers certainty. Certainty in our governance, certainty in our legal framework, certainty in our business environment, and certainty in our direction as a nation committed to stability, integrity, and sustainable growth. Investors around the world are rethinking their strategies. The search is on for jurisdictions that are safe, transparent, predictable, and welcoming. Places where capital is protected, where the rule of law is not an aspiration, but a guarantee, where leaders are accessible and the path from proposal to progress is not mired in red tape. The Bahamas meets that moment. We are a stable democracy, the oldest in our region, with a legal system rooted in English common law, and our final court of appeal still remains in England, the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. We boast a robust financial services sector, a business-friendly tax environment, and one of the most dynamic tourism economies in this hemisphere. But beyond the facts and figures, what we offer investors is something increasingly rare in today's world: clarity. We know who we are, we know what we offer, and we know where we are going. Our government is focused on providing smart, targeted reforms to enhance the ease of doing business. We are modernizing infrastructure, digitizing services, upgrading energy systems, and removing outdated bureaucratic hurdles, all to ensure that our investments in the Bahamas are not only secure, but positioned to grow. For generations, Bahamians have cultivated deep expertise in international financial services, creating a highly skilled talent pool. As a result, the Bahamas offers investors access to a robust base of experienced professionals ready to support and facilitate global business operations. So, as the world searches for safe ground, I invite you to take a serious look at the Bahamas, not just as a destination, but as a dependable partner. We live in a time when once reliable markets are being tested by conflict, supply chain disruptions, rising interest rates, and policy unpredictability. In many countries, investors are facing reversals in regulation, abrupt currency shifts, and political systems too fractured to provide a clear roadmap forward. The result is a climate of hesitation where capital is sitting on the sidelines, not because of a lack of opportunity, but because of a lack of confidence in the terrain. That's where the Bahamas stands apart. We understand that for the investment to thrive, stability must be more than a talking point. It must be delivered in practice. That's why we have worked diligently to maintain political continuity and stability, policy coherence, and economic prudence. We have avoided the wild swings in direction that investors fear. Our monetary policy is steady. Our fiscal consolidation is delivering results. Our debt is declining, and our credit rating outlook was recently upgraded by Moody's, a signal of growing international confidence in our economic stewardship. We don't take that lightly. We know that every investor who chooses the Bahamas is making a decision based on trust. And we are committed to earning that trust every day through sound governance, transparency, and responsiveness. We have also committed to clarity in law. Investment policies are published and enforced. Contracts are respected, and our judiciary remains independent and internationally respected, a foundation of our common law heritage. As mentioned before, our final adjudication body is still resident in England. This kind of certainty doesn't happen by accident. Certainty attracts capital, but long-term success, the kind investors are really looking for, comes from more than stability. It comes from growth, from partnership, from confidence that you are not just entering a market, you are becoming a part of its future. That's the real story of the Bahamas. We don't ask investors to come in, write a check, and figure it out on their own. That's not our model. Our approach is to work with you through every phase of the investment journey, from inquiry to implementation, from licensing to operations to expansion. This administration is available, responsive, and focused on results. Our investment promotion and facilitation unit at the Office of the Prime Minister is designed to be your single point of contact, cutting through bureaucracy, coordinating across agencies, and ensuring that your project isn't delayed by red tape or unnecessary silos. Because we understand, in a global market, investors have choices. And we want you to choose the Bahamas because we are not just open, we are organized, engaged, and ready to support whatever your vision may be. Whether it's infrastructure, hospitality, logistics, energy, or financial services, our job is to help you unlock the potential of your investment and align it with national development priorities. And we are evolving fast. Our traditional strengths, tourism, financial services, and logistics continue to grow. But we are also creating the policy and regulatory framework to support investment in renewable energy, digital assets, blue economy ventures, technology parks, and climate adaptation infrastructure. We are opening up new sectors where investor creativity can match up with national needs. We are modernizing our energy registry and land systems to ensure clarity of ownership. We are introducing digitized platforms to improve government's responses. And we are streamlining approvals across major ministries to reduce wait times and improve accountability. This means that an investor in the Bahamas isn't just contributing to the bottom line, you are helping shape the kind of economy we are building. We want this to be a place where you can pilot new models, scale successful ventures, and establish regional headquarters that connect you to the wider Caribbean and the Americas. It's also a place where people want to live, and that matters. Executives want to bring their families. Teams want to be based in places where they feel safe, welcomed, and inspired. In the Bahamas, we offer world-class education, reliable medical care, an English-speaking workforce, and a lifestyle that supports well-being and productivity. So while many countries are competing on cost, we are competing on value, on the quality of our governance, the responsiveness of our systems, the strength of our institutions, and the opportunities we offer to build something meaningful and enduring. We're not pitching a product. We are offering a relationship built on mutual respect, aligned interests, and a shared commitment to success. If your goal is to invest in a place where ideas are taken seriously, where government is a partner, where opportunity is matched by reliability, then I invite you to look seriously at the Bahamas. This is a nation ready to grow with you and because of you. In today's environment, where innovation is moving faster than regulation, investors are right to ask hard questions, not just about incentives, but about safeguards, about what happens when something goes wrong, about whether the rule of law holds up when pressure is applied. In the Bahamas, we have answers. One of the clearest examples of this is our approach to digital assets. In 2020, we became the first country in the world to pass a comprehensive regulatory framework for digital assets and exchanges. The Digital Assets and Registered Exchange Act, or as we call it, the acronym DARE. We didn't wait for the world to tell us what to do. We anticipated where the industry was going, and we acted. DARE is not just a statement of ambition, it's a serious, enforceable legal framework that protects investors, strengthens compliance, and holds institutions to account. And when that framework was tested in full view of the world, we did not flinch. When FTX collapsed, the Bahamas was at the center of a global firestorm. But in the aftermath, something important happened. Our institutions held. Our regulators acted swiftly. Our courts operated with transparency. And while some jurisdictions scrambled for answers, we were already implementing them. That moment became a global proof point, not of failure, but of resilience. It showed that even in the face of unprecedented volatility, the Bahamas remained committed to the rule of law, to investor protection, and to the highest standards of regulatory integrity. And we have since updated and strengthened the DARE Act to ensure our jurisdiction remains best in class in the emerging sector. I understand the United States is trying to catch up. I don't know whether did they pass that bill yet on crypto. This is how we approach every challenge, with clear-eyed honesty and a commitment to governance that stands up under scrutiny. Because in the end, trust isn't earned when things are easy. It's earned when they are hard. Our ability to attract serious capital will always depend on our seriousness about regulation, transparency, and fairness. That's why we continue to invest in our regulatory institutions, strengthen our oversight capabilities, and refine our framework with international best practice in mind. So when we say the Bahamas offers certainty, we mean it in the most rigorous sense. Legal certainty, regulatory maturity and certainty, political stability, and a commitment to evolving in step with the demands of the global marketplace. You've heard the story of a country, small in size, yes, but clear in purpose. A country that knows the value of stability in a time of global uncertainty. A country that has faced its share of challenges, but has never stopped moving forward. A country that has taken bold steps to modernize, regulate, and reform, not because it was easy, but because it was necessary. I've shared with you our vision, our actions, and our proof points. But if there's one thing I want you to leave, I want to leave with you, just one. If just one, let it be this: the Bahamas is open for business. Friends, the great thinkers of our time remind us that progress is never accidental. It is built by those who dare to push boundaries, who see opportunities where others see obstacles, and who believe that ambition is not limited by size, but by vision. That is the story of the Bahamas. We are a small country, but we have never allowed that to define our potential. We have proven that with the right partnerships, bold ideas, and a commitment to innovation, we can lead in areas that matter, not just for ourselves, but lead for the world. But the real question is, what role will you play in this journey? What industries will we build together? What investments will define our next decade? How can we turn today's opportunities into lasting value for future generations? Because our goal is not just to succeed, it is to be the model of success, a model that proves that what is possible when a small country leads with ambition, breaks barriers, and redefines what the future can be. I invite you to lean with us, to be part of this next chapter, to push the boundaries of what we can achieve, what we can achieve together. I want to thank you, and please do enjoy the rest of the exercise put on by our ambassador, which I wish to thank for putting this together. Thank you very much.
Indeed, the Bahamas is open for business. Thank you very much, Prime Minister Davis, for those remarks. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude the opening ceremony for the Bahamas Business and Investment Forum 2025. We will now take a coffee break, during which time we will have the official photograph taken, and we will resume the first panel discussion in 15 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Well, that there ends the opening ceremony of the Bahamas Business and Investment Forum at the Metropolitan Club in New York City, and the just concluded with an address from the keynote speaker, Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, the Honorable Philip Davis. And just to give you some snapshots of what he delivered to this room full of investors here, local and foreign investors, he says, which is fundamental, what stands out for me is in the face of uncertainty, global uncertainty, the Bahamas offers the certainty investors need. And he said, as the world searches for a safe ground, the Bahamas is there for investors to take a serious look at. And he said he's not really pitching a product, and we see this whole event as a pitch, but he made it clear that it's not in terms of pitching a product, but instead of offering a relationship. So the Bahamas is really extending an invitation to U.S. investors and other international investors to do business into the Bahamas. And as we indicated during our opening, it only augurs well to boost our economic growth. Now, joining me for a chat is Mr. Charles Pratt, and he's the Senior Manager of Sales and Commercial Development at the Grand Bahama Port Authority. Now, Mr. Pratt, now we know in recent days, Grand Bahama, you may still be on a high with that nearly $1 billion deal signed for the Grand Lucayan Resort, and it actually lays the foundation for the resurgence of Grand Bahama. One thing, if all of us agree on, is needed in Grand Bahama, and we celebrate with Grand Bahama on it. But you're here at the Investment Authority. What's your biggest takeaway from what the address the Prime Minister just delivered?
Well, first of all, congratulations to the country, congratulations to the Prime Minister. We are certainly encouraged and excited about his message, trumpeting the fact that the Bahamas is open for business. And so what I took away from his speech was that come, live, work, play, and learn. I'm paraphrasing and interpreting.
Exactly.
In the Bahamas, in paradise, we're open. We can streamline the process. We can make your time, your investment dollars count. Help us grow the economy of the Grand Bahama. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't speak about Grand Bahama. Exactly. Because that is why I'm here. To tell you that the Bahamas is open, and Grand Bahama, we pride ourselves in saying that we are the jewel of the paradise in the northern Bahamas. So representing the Grand Bahama Development Company, the Grand Bahama Port Authority, we're going to be talking about the huge investment, particularly as it relates to land investment opportunities that exist in the port area. We certainly invite those who are watching now to stay tuned and understand what has been happening in Grand Bahama now, not just this year, last year, or even the year before, but for the last 5 to 8 to 10 years, where we've been promoting investment and business development streamlined process in this port area in Grand Bahama. Our mission from the GBPA is to improve the quality of life of Grand Bahamians and the Bahamas by extension through the unique features offered in the Hawks-McClick Agreement, which I'll speak a little bit about later on. Grand Bahama Development mission statement is that we want to grow the economy of Grand Bahama, to grow the generational wealth of Grand Bahamians and by extension the Bahamas through land development investment. So we're looking for the right partners who can right now take advantage of the opportunities that exist on the island of Grand Bahama.
Now you bring up a good point in terms of land development. Speak to what other opportunities you're hoping to tap into Grand Bahama. And like the Prime Minister said, you know, the Bahamas is more than just Nassau. We may be the capital, but don't forget, well, as you said, you know, just to borrow a line from you, don't forget the jewel of the country, Grand Bahama. So what else beyond the land development, beyond being the industrial capital of the country? What more are you looking for? Because it seems you've always been told to get ready, but it seems that you are ready.
Well, we are ready. We have been getting ready for a long time, so now we are ready, definitely. But we have other sectors that appeal to foreign direct investment and local investors as well. We have the logistics. Because of where Grand Bahama is strategically located, we sit in the natural route of shipping lanes from European to U.S., the largest consumer market in the Western Hemisphere. We talk about maritime Grand Bahama is known as the Venice of the Caribbean. The ambassador referenced being known as, I can't remember the exact description, but we claim to be the Venice of the Caribbean because of our Grand Lucayne waterway that dissects the island. Right. Wonderful opportunity for residential, multifamily, commercial properties. We have anchor developments, so maritime, tech hub. Several administrations have been pushing Grand Bahama as the ideal location for tech hubs. So we have several sectors, and I'll speak more to that detail again when we are on panel 2 at 11. Don't miss it. Where we're talking about investment opportunities, real estate, and other things broader for the Grand Bahama area.
Well, that just there, you heard a lot from Charles Pratt, and he's one of the panelists today.
On panel 2.
Panel 2
yes.
At the Bahamas Business and Investment Conference at the Metropolitan Club here in New York City. Thank you, Mr. Pratt, for joining us, and we hope to see you later on.
Definitely.
Well, that does it for our broadcast here at the Metropolitan Club. The opening ceremony of the Bahamas Business and Investment Forum. Once again, I'm Makush Lapinder. Thank you for joining us.
And Lyford Key, I'm Tanya Smith-Cartwright. This is ZNX.
The last time I was in Andros, I just knew I had to come back again to see some more of the largest island in the Bahamian archipelago. On this trip, I'm going to be staying at one of the newest places on the island. Visit the Andros industry that was started to provide employment for local women. It's still here today, and its products are a global sensation. Then, I'm going to enjoy the natural treasures of Andros and visit some blue holes. And who would have thought a fabulous woman like me could go boar hunting? Then, I have to hop the ferry to South Andros for the day, so I can meet with my dive instructor at Andros Diving in South Andros. And I also booked a nature tour there. Visit a truly fabulous eco-friendly resort. I'll be coming right back to North Andros though, because I have a reservation at Small Hope Bay Lodge, one of the oldest resorts on Andros. I'm going to check into my room at Dream Villas and get ready for my busy day.
We can go to Inagua, see the flamingos, get to it so much, show you all the tingo, juicy pineapples, the taste of Ilutra, nothing but happiness in our future. Sail through Long Island, dive in Bimini, explore the caves, down in the berries, so many islands, gems and keys, beauty to explore, taste and see. Living the fabulous life, but hey, let's live this life forever. Share each moment, our treasure. Let's live this life forever. Share each moment, our treasure. Fabulous living, Bahamian style.
My new personal assistant is really choosing just what I like. This boutique-style beachfront property, Dream Villas here in Davis Creek, Andros, is a real island getaway with a lot to do. There's bird watching and kayaking for my adventurous side, or just relaxing on my sun deck. Unfortunately, I would really like to enjoy it all, but I have a lot to do today, so I better get going. I'm really looking forward to my first stop, because nothing is more fabulous than fashion, especially with handmade fabrics. Androsia Handmade Boutique was started on the beach by Small Hope Bay Lodge's Rosie Birch in the late 1960s. She thought this low-tech but vibrant art form would provide a creative outlet and employment for local women, so sewing classes and dyeing experiments began. The company was launched in 1973 by the Birch family, and over 40 years later, they're still creating handmade textiles. Hand batiqued on Andros with hand-carved stamps of their own design. I'm really excited to take a tour and see how it's all done. Don't go away. We'll be right back direct from the Androsia factory on Andros.
This show is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
So very excited about this part of our Andros Fab Venture. We are here at the Androsia Boutique Factory, only found in Andros. This is where we have authentic Bahamian boutique material made from scratch. Phyllis is our guide today, and she has been here for a very long time. She's going to walk us through the process of this